Twitch, Automew the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing Pokémon Emerald. Last time, we managed to get involved a bit in Team Magma's plans. We saw them awaken the legendary Pokémon Groudon. Although they weren't able to control it, sucks to be them. And this time, we have quite the adventure on our hands. Before we can actually progress in this, before we can make any more progress, just want to, what am I saying here? For some reason, bitrate looks unstable. That's this. Okay, I get it. This is so weird. Hope this doesn't affect things too much. Boy, this introduction is just completely gone off the rails. What I want to do is fly over to Slateport City, as that is our next stop in order to progress this adventure. Because we got quite a lot to do over here. As you can see, we have a gathering over here. Somebody who was a famous star so I get an autograph, but who's having an interview? Is that Captain Stern? Captain Stern says they discovered something at the bottom of the sea. I wonder what it is. What could it be? What's going on here? Did the good captain come back with a big fish from the ocean floor? That lady interview is cool and pretty. When I grow up, I'm gonna be an international journalist. Hey, you watching? Am I on TV? A TV interview? Here, the captain's a celebrity. Okay, Captain Stern, big smile for the camera. I see. You've had a most invaluable experience. Okay, looks like... I don't know how things are on my end, but hopefully things are a little bit better as this goes on. I'm getting that thing where it doesn't, like, show my session time on my stream manager. I mean, I have it on... OBS, so it should be fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll with this and see how things go. Yes, indeed. We intend to move ahead with our exploration. That's wonderful, Captain Stern. Thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule to talk to us. We hope we can interview again with news of more discoveries. There goes the media. Whew, that was my first time to be filmed for TV. That was nerve-wracking. Oh, Haley, you're looking great. We made a huge discovery on our last seafloor exploration. We found an underwater cavern en route to 128. Oh, there we go. Things looking a bit better. We think it's the habitat of a Pokemon that's said to have been long extinct. Captain Stern, I presume? We of Team Aqua will assume control of your submarine. Your objections are meaningless. We expect your total cooperation. Just watch and learn what Team Aqua has planned. What was that all about? It sounded like someone using a megaphone. Where'd it come from? It's from the harbor! The submarine! They're trying to take it! Haley, please come with me! Sup, dudes? Oh, not you again! You're tenacious to track us here, that much I will give you. But now, no one can stop us! No one! Or will you follow us back to our hideout in Lily Cove City? Yeah, probably not a good idea to tell the heroes where you're going. Why? Why would Team Aqua steal my Submarine Explorer 1? They can't be after the slumbering Pokemon at the bottom of the sea. But even if I were to chase them, I don't stand a chance against them. So we have our course set. So we'll be returning back to Lily Cove in order to continue our adventure. So now we're finally able to access Team Aqua's hideout. Also just wanted to point out that if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you actually have a battle against a few Team Aqua grunts in the harbor. For some reason they don't have anything like that here. Whatever. And of course, if you're playing Ruby or Omega Ruby, then you will encounter Team Magma there. because the Magma hideout in Mount Chimney doesn't exist in those versions. With that, we finally access Team Aqua's base for realsies. Nice! Was this character spotted? We got ourselves quite a way to go through here. And again, we're just dealing with same unevolved Pokemon as last time. Yeah, nothing in here should really give you too much trouble. We've already seen everything that Team Aqua has in store for us, so it's going to be very easy here. Yeah, I lost it! Your dark type lost to a ghost. I took the loss for the team, but I did my job. Good for you. Here we have, returning from previous games, warp panels. They will warp you to various areas around Team Aqua's hideout. We want to take this one first to grab this item. Max Elixir. You'll definitely want to grab everything you can here because there's some good items. One very much in particular that I'll be saving for a very specific incident that'll be going on much later on. Keeping watch over the hideout bores me. I'll take you on. Well, at least more of us aboard. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting stream session, because if things go as planned, there's going to be a very interesting boss fight coming up, and yeah, that'll definitely be something to look forward to. Oh, I lost. If you scurry too much, other Team Aqua members might get you. I'm not worried. Trust me. Alright, now this area you'll definitely want to go through. We got a lot of warp panels here, and you want to take the right path to get to the end. Leave the storm one? No. Okay. Just want to head over to this panel, I believe. And that takes us into what appears to be Archie's main quarters. Look at here. Just like in the first generation, we got electrodes disguised as item balls. These electrode are pretty interesting. They will be at least level 30 when you face them, and, well, they can paralyze you, but there's one other thing they're capable of doing that can be very annoying, like that. Luckily, Beetlejuice is immune to those kind of tactics, and he just gets free experience. Yeah, these aren't the only place where you can capture Wild Electrode, but I would recommend catching them if you can, because it's good for filling up the Pokedex. This is full here on Beetle. And over here we get a Nugget. I believe this is another Electrode. Yep. This shouldn't be any trouble at all for Beetle. As long as he doesn't take too much from these sparks. Alright, he's actually getting a chance to attack here. Also, on the topic of Beetlejuice, the artwork I drew for him, which can be seen in my little slideshow in the top left, that was a really fun drawing for me to make. Really, really enjoyed working on that. And over here, you definitely want to grab this. The Master Ball. This is the best Pokeball in the game. And it's also one of the only instances of the Master Ball you get. When you use it, you will automatically catch whatever wild Pokemon you're facing, no matter what. It is that good. Yeah, we shouldn't have any trouble against these two. If you want to know the secret about our hideout, you have me to beat. Hey, you there, which you think's cooler, Team Aqua's uniform or Team Magma's? I don't know, I really like the pirate aesthetic you guys got going on, but Team Magma has that devil aesthetic too, which is also awesome. I don't know, it's really a tie. Although I do prefer water over fire, so I guess I go with Aqua. As long as I actually use water types and not these runs. So, what's some stuff to talk about while we are going through the Aqua base? Well, I guess I could talk about some stuff I've been watching lately. So, very recently, I finished watching Season 3 of Agretzko, one of my all-time favorite shows, and oh boy, that was definitely an interesting season, especially for what happened at, like, the tail end of it. But yeah, really good stuff. I like how they continue the characters and the stories. The thing with the idol group was very fun, and just a lot of good moments from that season. It makes me excited to see what they're going to do next for that show, because man, I don't know how they'd be able to top some of the stuff they portrayed in that season. But unfortunately, in less than good news regarding Netflix, I found out recently that they canceled another of my fave shows, Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and that makes me really upset. Like, the show was so good, and with its deep and rich lore, just all the way they're able to show the events practically using puppets and stuff. Hang on. It's very weird. But yeah, Age of Resistance. It was a really good show, and I'm so sad to see it not being continued. It was just so amazing and really got me into the whole story behind the Dark Crystal, because very interesting to see Jim Henson working on something a lot more serious and dark compared to the other content that he's produced. And very much like to see those story continue, but apparently we're not getting that in a show anymore. I do hope that the story does get continued in some fashion. Alright, awaiting. Lost and Dazed. Yes, you are. Boss, is this good enough? I don't know, but I guess another thing I'd like to note about the Aqua/Magma hideout here is that in the remakes, this plays a lot more involved and feels a lot more like a base for these guys. I mean, sure, you got all this equipment here, but they also do a lot of cool stuff where they show, like, the living quarters for, like, the grunts and the admins. They really make this place feel alive. And just the general atmosphere of the area is really cool. Fuel supply loaded A-OK, in-crew snacks loaded A-OK. Nothing left to do but KO a pesky meddler. Another thing cool about the remakes that it foreshadows a lot of stuff that goes on much later on in the story, which is very cool. I do really like what Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire do to expand the story from the third generation. Overall. Come on, Armstrong. No, you can beat this guy. So very excited for Armstrong. He's very close to finally getting a much-needed power-up, and very much looking forward to it, especially for working on some more art. This is just to hold you up. And instead, you let me down. Boy, isn't that just a metaphor for everything these guys do? They let me down so hard, not being a threat, not being that cool villains. When I joined Team Aqua, the first thing I had to learn was how these warp panels connected. It is interesting when you finally memorize the patterns. Like when you know the trick to get through Sabrina's gym very quickly. It's actually very easy. Need to do that now. So we'll take the guy out with that, and yeah, we'll Pin Missile the Carvana. So I'm thinking of actually replacing Pin Missile on Harlequin once we get another move for her. Her moveset's pretty much almost complete at this point. But there is one particular move that I am waiting for her to eventually get. As for Armstrong, well, he's got a little ways to go, but his moveset is pretty close to being complete. What's wrong with you? You're not tired at all. I was too occupied thinking about the warp panels. And I was just thinking about my team's movesets. Screw you guys. Looks like we've reached a destination. Yeah, you better, exclamation mark. Man, I'm just thinking about Among Us because of that. Alright, buddy, what do you gotta say?
Got her already, did ya? We underestimated you. But this is it. I'm a cut above the grunts you've seen so far. I'm not stalling for time. I'm gonna pulverize you.
In his only appearance in Pokémon Emerald, say hello to Aqua admin Matt. If you're playing a Sapphire, you would have fought this guy back on Mount Chimney. And of course, if you're playing Ruby, you will instead fight Tabitha here. This guy is really no problem considering what we've been up against before. Like, this Mightyena is significantly lower than Maxie's Mightyena, which we just fought in order to get to this area, so... yeah, don't know what they're thinking, but things are pretty pathetic here. Look, this guy doesn't even have a water type on his team. It's no wonder I gave him a Gyarados in my comic. Come on, Armstrong. No, you can do it. Man, breaking through the confusion 2 turns in a row. Very good, Armstrong. You're definitely getting in my good graces, buddy. Especially when you're so close to getting that power-up. Just one more level.
So, I lost 2.
Yes, you did.
While I was toying with you, our boss got through his preparations. Our boss already gone his way to some cave under the sea. You're gonna get chased, you better search the big white sea beyond Lilycove. But will you find it then?
Well, darn. Archie managed to get away with the submarine and is now headed to the lair of another legendary Pokemon, supposedly. But pursuing a submarine is going to take quite a lot of effort. Effort that we are not currently able to do, so... it looks like we'll be taking a short detour on our Team Aqua pursuit here. Because at long last, the path beyond Lilycove City has now been unlocked. Just want to heal up before we hit the waves, cause quite a lot to explore here. Are there any items I want to deposit before we move on? Sell this nugget for money before we continue things here. By the way, earlier I checked the lottery ticket woman and I didn't get anything. Sad. Yeah, everyone's looking pretty good here. Just to show it off in our inventory, here's the Master Ball. We only get one normally in this game. If you want another one? You're gonna have to be really lucky with those lotto tickets. You need to get a perfect match on whatever ticket you get in order to get a Master Ball. It's crazy. And I have never once gone the Master Ball that way in any of the games I played. I played a lot, all things considered. But now making our way to Route 124. Before we fight these guys, just want to show off on the map. We are capable of exploring all of this right now. The entire ocean on the eastern side of the Hoenn region is open to us to explore. We're not going to be able to access everything here quite yet, but just know that you have a lot you can see here on the ocean. Here I am, swimming by my lonesome in this wide, beautiful sea. No other word for it. This is pathetic! I mean, you are pretty close to the town, buddy. Declan here. Ooh, he's packing a Gyarados, which makes him infinitely better than Aqua Admin Matt. Boy, that's sad. This guy trying to give us too much trouble here. Go for Feint Attack because that's neutral. So, Gyarados, I don't think I've really gone over these guys. They are Water Flying type and overall tremendous Pokemon. Being the evolution of the very weak Magikarp, you wouldn't expect these guys to be too good, but Gyarados just really knocks out the park. Its stats are all amazing. Just such a great attacker, and it learns such great moves that complement its stats so well. Of course, you're gonna have to wait another generation for it to really make the most out of its stab attacks, but it's still a very good attacker in this game. Learns a lot of good moves of different types, and can be very helpful to you on your journey. Overall, can't recommend it enough. It's great. Harlequin took out that Meryl very easily for us. That takes care of Grace. I had no idea you were this strong. Trainers are giving like paltry levels of money here. If you put it, must have made you this strong. So about considering this area for streams, I will be showing off every trainer that can be fought in the water routes here, but in order to keep the pacing of the story consistent, we are going to mainly be focusing on completing the story. So we're not going to be seeing everything we can in the oceans right away. Mainly going to be focusing on progressing the story, fighting any trainers along the way and seeing what we can see, but yeah, there's just so much to do here, and I don't want to hold the pacing back that much. Which means we're not going to be seeing quite a few things here until much later on and in other stream sessions, but I feel that it's for the best to keep things consistent. Alright, that's what I'm waiting for. Harlequin wants to learn Needle Arm. This is kind of a signature move among the Cactus Pokemon. Attacks with thorny arms may cause flinching. Cacturne isn't really the fastest Pokemon around, but that can still be very helpful. And having another Grass-type attack is very good. And for that, I'm going to finally get rid of Pin Missile. I don't really see the need for a Bug-type move on this team. Like, I have plenty of Pokemon that are able to do what Bug-type is also capable of doing, but better. So, I just feel like it is a nice trade-off. And it complements Harlequin very nicely. Another thing I'd like to do with Harlequin is maybe teach her the TM for Sandstorm, because that works very well with her ability, making her much more evasive, helping her get around her lower defense compared to other Pokemon on the team. I think it'll be very handy for her. With that, her moveset is almost complete at this point. And of course, in terms of Pokemon you'll be running into on the ocean, pretty much on every other water route we have seen previously, you'll encounter the same Pokemon here, but they tend to be in higher level. moves in this area. So you'll be seeing plenty of Tentacool and Wingull, as well as their evolutions. Kind of a shame, with all the water-type Pokemon there really aren't that many that you can actually counter here. At least by surfing. Using the rod, there are quite a few Pokemon you're able to catch here. And there may be many more Pokemon lurking beneath the waves that we cannot see. We've seen these dark patches of water previously when we went to the abandoned ship. We'll definitely want to remember these for later, because they've got some interesting stuff that we can eventually see. But that won't be until much later. This Pelipper here can be a bit annoying because they have Protect, which just does nothing but waste your moves and makes that you use up your power points. So, what's some other stuff to talk about? Well, very recently, with the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise, which I'm really excited for because I really love the Monster Hunter games. It'll be really cool to get to play it on the Switch. Because of that trailer, I actually went back and booted up Monster Hunter Generations on my 3DS again, because that's just such a good game. I really liked it when I first got it, and my interactions with this game have been fairly interesting, in that it's kind of a game that I play in short bursts, if you catch my drift. That, like, I'll play the game and do a couple missions in it, and then I just put the game down for several months before going back to it. It's kind of how my history has been with this game. And there's a lot of content to do in Monster Hunter Generations. Like, it's just so packed with a lot of different missions and monsters to fight. It's so crazy. And yeah, that's definitely why I've been playing the game only in short bursts, so I don't get too burnt out from it. But there's been a lot of good stuff I've been able to do with it. Because a lot of monsters that I've been fighting for the first time in that game, like Seregios, which is really cool, just this big bladed dragon that's able to like shoot its razor-sharp scales at you. Just, man, there's just so many cool monsters in those games, and a lot of the new ones they showed in Monster Hunter Rise look like they'll be pretty fun to fight too. So yeah, I'm very excited to get in on that. And also, I have been revisiting a classic game that I just love so much. It's easily one of my favorites of all time. So I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch, and that's been amazing. I want to kind of belay that conversation to talk to this guy. I'm the Diving Treasure Hunter. I'm the awesome dude who makes deep-sea dives to gather treasures resting at the bottom. Yeah, they got any treasures for me. If you see any shards like the red shard, you gotta trade it with me. Wanted item. Trade item. This NPC you'll definitely want to keep in mind. Eventually, we'll gain the ability to find special items that can be traded for evolution stones. We don't have the ability to do that just yet, but we'll definitely want to keep this in mind for later, especially if you're looking to complete the Pokédex or add a certain Pokémon to your team. For that, we've already arrived at the next area, Mossdeep City. There's a lot of stuff for us to see here. A lot of stuff. For now, let's go chat with the locals.
I can't do this anymore. It's utterly hopeless. I'm a fighting type trainer, so I can't win at the Mossdeep gym no matter how hard I try.
Buddy, I feel you.
Don't look at me that way. I'm only hitting the ground. You want me to teach a Pokemon Dynamic Punch?
This is a very interesting move that actually a few Pokemon can learn. So Dynamic Punch is a fighting type attack with great power, and it instantly causes the opponent to become confused. However, a downside to Dynamic Punch is that it only has 50 accuracy, so it's a 50-50 shot whether the move will actually land or not. So I'm not going to teach it to anyone. Feels great letting the waves wash over my feet. Speaking of the waves, you know that island city, Satopolis? I think the gym here had a new leader come in. People tell me the new leader once mentored Wallace. That name will be very important to us in the future. But now, let's head to the Pokemon Center and heal. Boy, does this place bring back memories. Especially of a certain series I did. The gym leaders of this town are a formidable duo. Their combination attacks are like excellent and wow. I'm familiar. Depending on the special abilities of Pokemon, some moves might change or not work at all. Around Mossdeep, you can see Wild Whalmer. It's called, what's it now? Whalmer watching. Mossdeep City, our slogan, cherish Pokemon. Yeah, until you enter the gym and they get destroyed. My little brother says he likes to go find people's secret bases. You should make a secret base somewhere. I'll go find it. I will get to it. Eventually. I got this from Steven, but I know what it's good for. I think it's called a King's Rock. You want it? Why would you want it? You're weird. You can keep it, but keep it a secret from Steven. The King's Rock is a very good item. If you have this equipped to a Pokemon, any move they have that doesn't have an added effect will gain the effect of making the opponent flinch. Also, this is a evolution item, but there isn't anything we can catch in the game that actually involves using it, so we're not going to be able to use it that way. You're Manectric. It likes red Pokeblocks, doesn't it? No, I'm positive it definitely likes red Pokeblocks. My husband can tell what kind of Pokeblocks a Pokemon likes at a glance. Yep, you can go here to get a good idea for what Pokeblocks you should give your Pokemon for contests. However, I also know that their likes are dependent on their natures, so I don't really see any use for him. The Island Space Center has been launching huge rockets. Some kind of an uproar over a letter they received recently. I heard from a sailor buddy that Team Aqua set up shop in Lilycove. I also heard that someone came along and wiped the floor with them. The Mossdeep here's been targeted by that Team Magma. If you want to know what up to, go visit the Space Center. Oh boy, looks like Team Magma is still not... Well, they're still up to their old tricks. Revive is fantastic. Give it to a fainted Pokemon, the Pokemon will arise. Be careful, Revive doesn't restore the used up PP moves. The Net and Dive Balls are rare Pokeballs that are only made in Mossdeep. A Net Ball is effective against Bug-type and Water-type Pokemon. A Dive Ball works best on Pokemon at the bottom of the sea. Interesting. Max Repel keeps all weak Pokemon away. Out of all the Repel sprays, it lasts the longest. Indeed. So let's go buy some items here. We can get Ultra Balls here, which are very good. And I got some good balls here. Net Ball, of course, works on water and bug Pokemon. The Dive Ball, meanwhile, works on Pokemon that can be caught on the ocean floor. I'm gonna buy a couple of these for something that will happen later. Also got Hyper Potions, Full Heals, and Revives. I don't need any of these. Thank you. Let's move this up a bit. Right. And let's see what this house has for us. I can explain game rules to you if you like. Which game should I describe? So this is a purely multiplayer function. We're not going to be able to show it off here. Hi, welcome. You're to play games using wireless communication? Wait just a little bit. The wireless adapters are connected. Come back when it's hooked up. Nope, can't do anything here, so just ignore this place. All life needs the sea to live, even though it makes its home on the land. Life, having run its course, becomes soil and returns to the land. And the sea is always connected to the land. Yes, like the very shoreline here. Fascinating stuff. You get a net ball for free right here, which is nice. Oh, hey, Scott. Haley, feeling good? I'm doing great. I heard Mossdeep's gym leader's pretty strong, so I decided to come take a look-see for myself. But there's something wrong about this town. People are going on about a warning letter in the Space Center. I don't think it concerns me in any way, though. And off he goes. Wonder where we're gonna see him next. Don't think there's anything over here we need to worry about. My little sister exchanges mail with her boyfriend at Fort Tree. I don't envy her one bit at all. You know, I can't see my friend at Fort Tree. My Pokemon carries mail back and forth for us. I'm not lonesome, even though we're apart. So that Wingull will head back to Fort Tree. You remember the house where we saw that. This rock is a special mean to the people of the Space Center. They put it here as their wish for their rockets to fly safely. When you make a wish, what do you use? You wish upon a star? I use a wish tag to make it happen, that's what I do. It's a white rock. The fact that this girl talks about making wishes, and the fact that this rock is very unique compared to rocks we've seen previously, has led to a lot of theories that, unfortunately, are not true. There is no Pokemon tied to that at all. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole world was covered in plants and flowers like this island? It's certainly quite unique, the kinds of foliage they got here. A voyage on a ship is fine, but crossing the sea with Pokemon using surf? Now that's an exhilarating trip, wouldn't you agree, youngster? What do you got? Hey there, trainer! Super Rod really is super! Say all you want, but this baby can catch Pokemon off the seafloor. What do you think? You want it, don't you? Of course I do. The Super Rod is our final rod, and the best one we can get. Don't want to examine that TV. But yeah, with this, we're able to catch some very high-level Pokemon. And of course, some Pokemon that you wouldn't previously have obtained. Now, this area is very cool. The Space Center. I love the look of this building. I was taking a stroll down the beach when I found this. Not anything I need, so you can have it. We obtained the Sunstone. It's an evolution item that you can use to evolve Gloom into one of its evolutions. The Hoenn region's been famous for its meteor showers for a long time. Oh hey buddy. Haley, have you read that proclamation already? Team Magma's coming up to the rocket fuel on the island. I don't know what they need it for, but they can't be allowed to take it. I'll keep an eye on things for a while longer. Meantime, why don't you go check out the town? This is an intent to steal notice? To the staff of the Space Center, how are you? We're doing fine. We'll soon visit you to take your rocket fuel. Please don't try to stop us. We'll take the fuel no matter what. Let there be more land. Team Magma. How stupid can these guys get? Our rocket launch demands perfection. Not even a 1% margin of error is allowed. Even if it's 99% okay, the whole thing's useless if 1% happens to be no good. Yeah, just ask Fire Emblem players. Despite that, we never stop trying. Why, it's a dream that never ends. The rocket launched safely. That's successful launch number 8. So I believe that is actually tied to the number of weeks that you've been playing the game. And it doesn't really affect anything. The guy just talks about the launches, and that's it. Giant chunk of metal bursts through the sky and flies into space. It boggles my mind. Some people claim that Pokemon came from space. Could it be true? I mean, you got Solrock and Lunatone, you got Minyor, you got Clefairy. I wish ordinary people could go into space one day. Maybe someday. If only I was a little younger, I would have liked to be an astronaut. No, it's not too late. I can and will try. Good luck with that, buddy. Mossdeep's mainly sunny weather and its winds are stable. It's an ideal location for launching rockets. So yeah, that's the Mossdeep Space Center. Really cool having a location like that in the series, because for me personally, I really like space stuff. Helps that when I was a really little kid, I really wanted to be an astronaut, and actually got to go to a space museum down in Florida when I was really young, so it's really cool. So that taken care of, the only thing for us to do in Mossdeep City now is to go to the gym. I'm just gonna hold off on that for now. For now, let's take our brand spanking new Super Rod and go fishing with it. Because there is a certain Pokemon that I want to get for something that we'll be doing much later on in this series. Well, I don't know how much later on, because with our current levels, we would have a decent time doing this, actually. Just something I want to make note of. You have the Super Rod, you're going to need to make multiple attempts to try to pull up a Pokemon. You can run into one of these guys, Sharpedo. Actually, don't know if we've run into these guys before, but that's the evolution of Carvana. Water Dark type, very fast, great offensive stats, very poor HP and defense. They can be very useful for a certain battle coming up, but that is actually not the Pokemon I want to encounter here. We just use our fishing rod here. And now that we finally got a break from the action, how about we actually talk about the one thing I wanted to talk about earlier. So, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I recently picked it up for my Switch, and I am just loving the game so much. Like, seriously, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I previously had the 3DS version of the game when that was released. That was actually the game that I bought a new 3DS XL with. So it's very awesome. Really didn't want to kill that guy. And yeah, I really like the game. Haven't actually finished it, but it's still like one of my favorite games of all time. Just a really great RPG with a solid story, excellent and exploration, and just the way you progress through the game is really cool. This has a lot of great mechanics that make use of a lot of the character's attributes in really interesting ways. It's just a very solid game, and I'm very glad to be playing the Switch version because it is so beautiful. Like the original game was released on the Nintendo Wii, and it was a late Nintendo Wii game, so it obviously hasn't aged too much nowadays, but goddamn is it a beautiful game on the Switch. Like, they really made the best out of it. And just made it just so great, like, with the presentation. Just, I can't get enough of it. In fact, when I'm done this stream, I'm probably going to go back to play it again, because I just really want to keep playing it. It's amazing. I can't get enough of it. So I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to catch a certain Pokemon of a certain level so that it'd be easy for us to level it up for something we'll eventually be doing on our journey. I could have caught this Pokemon like much earlier on the adventure, but I felt like I only really need to do it like just now. Okay, let's use Peck here because that's the weakest move we got on Jerk. Alright. One more should be good. There we go. Go for the capture. Yeah, I'd like to ask you not to use that move on me. Man, Whalmer, why are you being so hard to catch right now? Having to use an Ultra Ball on this guy. Or girl. Alright, we caught ourselves a Whalmer. Whalmer, the ball whale Pokemon. While this Pokemon usually lives in the sea, it can survive on land, although not too long. It loses vitality if its body becomes dried out. Well, that's a shame. Now this Whalmer, I'm gonna name you Key 1. This will be important for something later on. And now that I got this Whalmer, let's say we fly back to an area that we haven't been to for quite a while. Back over here on Route 117. We're actually going to go to the Pokemon Daycare. Hey there, Key1. How's it going, girl? That's right, I saw the Amulet Coin Alexa. And I haven't gotten a better item for you. Yes, I'd like you to raise a Pokemon. Would you please raise Key1 for me? No, that won't be a problem for us. So yeah, for every step that we take, the Pokemon that we leave in the daycare will be gaining experience points that way. And that is just a convenient way you can level up Pokemon without having to worry about stuff. And we're just going to keep our Whalmer there until she gets much higher level. We will be checking in on her in between streams so I can figure out what level she is. And then when she's all trained up, we will recover her for later purposes. We will eventually see why eventually. With that taken care of, we've actually got plenty of time before we can go challenge the gym, and I'd actually like my Pokemon to be higher level before we do this, so why don't we go do some exploration in the areas around Mossdeep City. More specifically, I want to go up here just past the north section of Mossdeep, because there's a lot of cool stuff for us up here. Route 125. Ahoy, I'm a buff-tough sailor and brave the world's seas. Fascinating. Sailor Ernest. Again, more the same of what we've seen before. This guy's got some water Pokemon. But at current level, I think Jerk can easily handle this thing. Just gonna burn that seagull alive. I don't care if you're part water, everything burns. Unless you're fire, but, you know. So we're going for Macho. Let's send out Shanty. Although Beetlejuice would have also been good against this thing. So in terms of other stuff that's been going on, so I've recently been downloading a lot of Man on the Internet songs on my phone, because it's definitely a channel that I really like. They do covers of songs, as well as coming up with their own lyrics to various video game songs, and it's a very good channel, one I'd highly recommend. Just to clarify, they're the people that did Undertale the musical, so yeah, they definitely have done a lot of good work in recent years. Definitely one of my favorite channels right now. They provide some good content. I heard you approaching, so I hung around for you. Thank you. Didn't know you were a fan. Nolan. Oh, it's got a Tentacruel, man after my own heart. Yeah, Tentacruel's just so good. It's actually not a good matchup for Jerk, so why don't we go to Beetle and take care of this with a little toy ghost. I'm so sorry, Beetle, but I just can't get over the way your sprite looks in this generation. It's just so bad compared to what you eventually get in later generations. It's not a good representation of this Pokemon. Alright, got a good hit on that. Takes care of Nolan. I surrender! I mean, you kinda have to, you're out of Pokemon. Let's heal up a little bit. good idea to store some items. Actually, we don't have any use for potions right now, so let's just use these so that we don't have to worry about them later. Hello there, Watcher. It moves faster in water than it does through air. Yep, that's an interesting little science fact. So I don't think there's much else on this side of the area. These two you'll definitely want to fight. Funny old man lives in the Shoal Cave. Someone told me. Are you gonna see him too? Very soon, because he's got some good stuff from me. And what are these two guys? Senior and Junior Kim and Iris. Oh, one of you is that annoying kid from the black and white anime who just... Like, I don't want to go too much into my thoughts on the black and white show. I mean, it does have its good moments. I do have positive things to say about the black and white anime, but it also has its share of problems. The main one of which is spelt with an A, S, and H. And I'll just leave it at that. Those two are pretty easy to beat. Thought we would win. You thought wrong. A funny old man lives in the Shoal Cave, doesn't he? Let's go see him, Iris. Kim, are we really going into the Shoal Cave? We'll get all wet. So I believe these two are actually... I don't know if they're people you can register in the remakes. I just know that in the remakes that their team is actually a little bit more formidable because they have fully evolved Pokemon on their team. But over on this side of the area, we got a lot more trainers to fight. Hopefully they'll put up much better of a fight than what we saw previously. Tired of swimming, up for a battle with me. I mean, I'm always up for a battle, that's the point of these streams, to show off every trainer we can. Tanya! Probably a name I like. Also the name of one of my favorite characters in the American Tail movies. Luvdisc. This is an interesting Pokemon, not really for the reasons you would expect. You can actually catch Luvdisc here on this route, but would I recommend it for a team? Hell no. Why would a barracuda like me come out to the sea?
Hey, was it you throwing garbage into the sea?
To kind of go into Luvdisc a bit more. Its design is interesting, being like a heart-shaped little fish. I believe it's based on... like ocean sunfish, which they later do for another Pokemon, but that's neither here nor there. But just... goddamn. Luvdisc is just so bad of a Pokemon. Its only good stat is its speed. The rest of its stats are very bad. So it's not really that great of a battler. It's only a pure water type, so it just really doesn't have a whole lot going for it. Except for a few things. One thing I will note about it, if you're doing like challenge runs of this game, is that Luvdisc gets a lot of status moves, which can be pretty beneficial to you depending on how your team is set up. And this is an awkward team to have against these opponents here. So yeah, it gets quite a lot of status moves that can actually be pretty beneficial. Like it learns Attract by level up, it can also learn Sweet Kiss, so it has a lot of good status moves that it can use to make up for its like terrible stats. So if you're doing a challenge run and you want to use like a very weak water type, then I guess I could recommend it. But besides that, there's really not much else to say about Luvdisc. Here we got Machamp. That's the fully evolved form of the Machop family. Just a very powerful physical attacker with overall just great power. Not much else to say about it. It's a great attacker and can't recommend it enough. I think Harlequin should be fine here. We got this guy on the ropes. One thing I will note about Luvdisc is that if you are looking to get your Pokemon some moves from the move relearner, but you're having a hard time finding heart scales, then Love Disc is your best friend for finding heart scales. Because they can have heart scales as a held item. So you can encounter Love Disc, catch them, or use the Thief TM that you got back in Slateport City in order to steal the heart scales from them, and you'll have a good supply of those items in order to relearn moves on your Pokemon. So yeah, it definitely has utility that way for getting some good items. But besides that, can't really recommend it for battles unless you're doing like a challenge run. Otherwise, stay the hell away from Love Disc, because there's really nothing else going for it. Which, it's a shame that I am talking so negatively about a water-type Pokemon, because I love water types. They're among my favorites in the entire series, and they usually have very great concepts to them. But then you got things like Love Disc and Finneon that are just, they're so weak that I cannot recommend using them. Hey there, check out my sweet Pokemon. If it is a Love Disc, I'm gonna punch you. No, that's actually a better water type, Horsey. Can definitely recommend these, especially because we're close to the point where we can actually catch them in the wild. I will also note, however, that it's kind of awkward to get them fully evolved, but definitely worth it if you can. I floundered. Ha, get it, because it's a fish. I was blown away by Horsey's charm, so I started swimming too. That's definitely a nice way to get a hobby, being inspired by certain Pokemon. There is a lot of hidden base locations around here. Might actually put a hidden base somewhere around here, especially because of my gushing about water previously. Is there an item over on this rock here? I'm not sure. Let's filter out this guy. It's really good right now because we are at a good point for taking on the current gym, level-wise. But there's still some things I want to watch out for, because, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting place. Also, I don't need the Super Rod right now, so let's register the item finder, just so we can do that very quickly. But over here, I believe, is the last trainer we can fight in this area. If you want to come down here, lady, please. I'm so sick of fighting the same wild Pokemon over and over. Like, I hear these complaints about the third generation all the time. You know, the infamous 7.8 out of 10 too much water meme at this point. And yeah, Hoenn does have kind of a problem regarding the water routes in this game, because there's so many, and you're required to go down so many of them in order to actually progress through the story. And yeah, I can kind of see it. You're just seeing the same scenery over and over and over again. But at least they dot these areas with the occasional trainers and items to make it worth going out of your way to explore these areas. I will give it that. Anyway, here, I don't think we've run into this guy yet in this playthrough. Sea King, the evolution of Goldeen. It's a strong physical attacker, but as a water type, that really doesn't mean a whole lot, so it's hard to recommend this guy. At least I can recommend it more than Love Disc. Yeah, it's an interesting water type to say the least. It has a few status moves, like Supersonic there, and some interesting attacks. It can actually learn a one-hit KO move, which is fairly interesting, but besides that, really not much else to this guy. Definitely a lot of better water type Pokemon to run into. Alright, good work, Beetle. I want to heal you up, just so you're not too weak. Before we head into the next area, which, spoilers, is actually going to have some good Pokemon I can recommend. So in here, we got a very interesting area. Oh, I'm very glad to see this formation. The Shoal Cave is one of the most interesting areas in the Hoenn region because its layout actually changes depending on the time of day. But forget that because I can talk about Spiel! We're now able to run into Wild Spiel. I cannot recommend this Pokemon enough. It's an Ice-Water type. It's very bulky, has good offensive stats for utilizing its water and ice typing, and it's just such a great Pokemon that I can recommend. It does take a while to get it fully evolved, but at this point, you should really have no problem getting it caught up to the rest of your team. I will say that you can also catch its evolution here, but it's a bit rarer. But I can definitely recommend them.
You're planning on going deep in there? How about bringing me back some shoal salt and shoal shells? I can make you something good if you bring me the ingredients.
So we have kind of a fetch quest going in here. So going into how Shoal Cave works, this area changes its layout depending on the time of day because the tides go in and out depending on what time of day it is. So naturally, the area in here will change drastically because of that. So we can only go in this lower path down here. There's definitely some good stuff for us to find. So this path, there, that path is blocked to us. We can't go there, but we can go up these steps. And encounter another Spiel. I just love looking at these guys. They're so cute. Like, it looks like a little seal that swallowed the beach ball, and they're just so adorable. I can't get enough of Spiel. Easily one of the cutest Pokemon out there. Alright, Beetlejuice leveled up. That's good. He is definitely going to be very useful for an upcoming battle. Yeah, I can definitely recommend having a Bayonet or the Duskull evolution at this point in the adventure. Speaking of evolutions, I want Armstrong in the front here. So you can see there's some blue rocks up there that we don't have access to because they're up on the high cliffs. You can only access those if you are... when the tide is high. When the tide is low, you're not able to access them. So to go into the unique items that you're able to find here, the shoal salt you can only get when the tide is low, and the shoal shells can only be obtained when the tide is high. So you want to come in here at different times of day in order to find these items. Over there we can grab an ice heal, which is very fitting, and examine that pile of salt in order to get the shoal salt. So you want to have 4 of each of these items before leaving this cave. Because the old man will get you something very good if you are able to collect 4 of each of those items. Something else I'd like to note is that because of the way the thing works here in Shoal Cave, I am probably not going to be able to show off what the high tide section of the Shoal Cave looks like. So for the purposes of the stream, I'll just be checking out the cave when in between streams just to see if I'm able to get the shoal shells, and then once I do that and have all the collectibles, then the next stream session I'll return to the Shoal Cave in order to show off the reward you get for collecting the salt and shells, because it's definitely a good item, one I can highly recommend going into this place. And it's very cool that they tied this little side quest into exploring this area. And it's definitely good incentive for exploring this place at different times, because... oh boy. Not only are you able to access certain layers of this area depending on the time of day, but there's also certain Pokemon that you can only catch when the tide is low. So getting to them is very, very important here. Also, great, please not encounter all these guys I don't need to see. At least this is a good place to level up Armstrong. He's easily able to handle everything in here, so he'll have a good time taking out these Pokemon. Which is good, because we need him to get leveled up for what's going to happen in the future. Come on, buddy. Stepping down there, we can reach. But yeah, once we're done with Shoal Cave, we'll probably be heading to the next gym. And I am very interested in seeing how things go there for a multitude of reasons. I believe at this point I want to go over this way. After we fight another Spheal. I don't know, what is with the encounters right now? I mean, I like having the experience. It's definitely going to be helpful for what we're going to be facing in the future. Oh no, it's weird. So Encore, don't know if we've seen that move yet in this playthrough. Encore is an interesting move, making it so that your Pokemon is locked into only being able to use the last move it used 4 or 5 turns.
The penetrating cold around these parts is an impediment to trading. With focus, one can overcome. With this focus band, buckle down and withstand the cold.
This is an interesting item. Everything starts with focus. If you have your Pokemon hold the focus band, it will have a chance of surviving a fatal blow with 1 HP. Yeah, certainly an interesting item. One I don't really get too much use out of, but it could be helpful in certain fights. But again, your Pokemon only has a chance of this item activating, so it's not too helpful, especially during certain challenge runs. With a Pokemon with strength, we're able to push aside this rock, which is necessary to get some good stuff here in the Shoal Cave. So down here is a section of the Shoal Cave that can only be accessed when the tide is low. The area is covered in ice, and of course you will slide across when you step across it, so you want to be very careful with your steps so that you get into the right spot here. This area is also interesting because there's an exclusive Pokemon to this section of the Shoal Cave. Snorunt is a pure ice type. In fact, it's the first pure ice type in the Pokédex if you don't count regional variants. And sorry to say, but Snorunt is actually one of the weakest ice types. Yeah, kind of sad to say in this generation, but in this generation, it's kind of hard to recommend Snorunt. True, ice is a good offensive type, and it definitely has its uses in a lot of areas, but for the most part, Snorunt's stats are pretty below average, especially when you get it fully evolved. Now, where just all of its stats are set to like one specific value, and because its base stat total isn't that great compared to other Pokemon, it doesn't really excel in one area. It's kind of hard to recommend. I mean, if you do want to use it, it does get some good moves by level up. And as a pure ice type, it doesn't have to worry about the additional weaknesses that other ice type Pokemon like Spheal and Lapras get. So there is that, but yeah, still kind of awkward to recommend it. At least in this generation. In Generation 4, Snorunt gained an additional evolution, and I can definitely recommend that evolution. It gains a new typing, its stats are distributed a bit way so it's a lot more offensive than its other evolution, and yeah, I can definitely recommend it then. It's a good Pokemon. get a very good item that I can't recommend enough. Never Melt Ice. This will power up Ice-type moves used by your Pokemon. Definitely want to pick that up. We can stop running into Spiel here. Really don't need him all that much. I mean, Armstrong's getting some experience, but it's really not that much. So, Ice Ball there is a move that only a few Ice-type Pokemon get. It actually debuted in this generation alongside Spiel. Ice Ball is pretty much an Ice-type version of Rollout. The move will gain power when used in succession, and when it's fully powered up, it is a very devastating attack. Definitely a good way to recommend Spiel in that regard, by having this Ice-type Rollout that's able to use. Yeah, with that, that's pretty much everything I really needed to say about the Shoal Cave and the Pokemon that can be found here. I mean, we haven't found Spiel's evolution yet, which can be found here. Very rarely, but it can. So here, I want to be very careful of the ice there. And you get TM7, Hail. So Hail is a status ailment that I don't think I've gone over. This is a weather condition, and that makes it so that any Pokemon that are not Ice-type will take a little bit of damage at the end of every turn. This also has other benefits, namely to Ice-type Pokemon, because some Ice-type Pokemon have abilities that benefit from being in Hail, and there is also a very nice effect when using this move alongside the move Blizzard, in that Blizzard will have 100% accuracy if it's used when it's hailing. So definitely a lot of good applications of Hail, but it's really a move I can only recommend if you're using an Ice type on your team. Otherwise, you're not really going to benefit too much from it. So yeah, it's a very situational move, one that I'm not going to be using in this playthrough, because I don't have an Ice type. Yeah, just showing it in action, Armstrong took damage from the Hail, but Spiel didn't. Also, just like to say about Hail that there are no Pokemon in this generation that have an ability that activates Hail, so you don't have to worry about that. The next generation does introduce an ability for that, but not in this game, so no need to worry about it. Alright, Armstrong, we're rapidly running out of power points for your moves. Can we please get done with battles here? Well, at least you got a nice critical hit there. So at least there's that. And you are very close to getting that power-up I wanted. So here, we can grab a Shoal Salt here. And then there is one more Shoal Salt to grab over here. Game, can you cut it out? I guess another thing I could comment here is that if you're looking to add Spiel to your team, try to catch it when it's around level 30, because you won't have as the Pokemon will evolve much sooner than it will if you catch it at lower levels. So yeah, just something I want to note here before we wrap things up in this area. Oh, I see that item ball up there. I don't think we can grab that in low tide, so that's something we'll also have to watch out for. With that, we got the 4 Shoal Salt. So if we want to gather more Shoal Salt, I think you need to wait at least a day in order for the salt piles to build up again. Alright, all I have to do is get out of here now. And considering our current time, I think we are just about ready to take on the gym. Hey, Gramps, I got the salt. Just like the Pokemon fandom, I am very salty right now. It's funny because this fandom is toxic. Alright, good experience there. Alright, so we'll definitely have to come back later when it is high tide in order to grab that. So yeah, in between streams, I'll revisit the Shoal Cave, get the items we need, and then next session we should be able to show off the item we get with that. For now, let's go deposit the items we don't need, and then we'll go take on the gem. Not really gonna need Never Melt Ice here. Focus Band could actually be helpful, so we'll keep that. Focus Sunstone. Don't really see use for King's Rock. Sell the Big Pearl. Yeah, we should be good to go. Sorry if I sound nervous here, but I am well familiar with what this gym can do. Got a lot of good money from that pearl, which is nice. Hey buddy, got any wishes for me? Cause yeah, we'll buy one hyper potion just to be on the safe side. Alright, I don't think we can delay it any longer. Mossdeep City Pokemon Gym. Leaders, Liza and Tate. The Mystic Combination. We have 2 gym leaders this time. Yo, how's it going, Champion Mount Haley? The gym leaders here use Psychic-type Pokemon. If you go up against them with Fighting or Poison-type Pokemon, they'll inflict horrible damage. Plus, they'll come at you with outstanding combination attacks. One and when you'll need to show them how tight you are with your Pokemon. Go for it! Battles hinge on the strength of your spirit. The weak-spirited will never win. The roads you traveled, what you've experienced. Come at me with everything you've learned. So Mossdeep is certainly one of the more unique gyms in the series. For one, this area doesn't just focus on a typing, it also focuses on a battle concept, in this case, double battles. You have the potential to fight every trainer here in a double battle, and I'd highly recommend it, really, just for getting these trainers out of the way very quickly. So I think we'll go Strength on Cadaver, because don't worry too much about that, and we'll do Feint Attack on Curlia. Something else I'd like to note about this gym is that between games, this gym changes its layout so much. Like in Ruby and Sapphire, the layout of this gym is completely different from how it is here in Emerald. And Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire changed the layout and mechanics of the gym as well. Ooh, that's very much needed. Armstrong for level 42. I'm very happy for that. I lost! I must temper my spirit again. You traveled a path of greatness. At long last, Armstrong is evolving. I'm so proud of this metal dino.
at that beast!
Armstrong evolved into Aggron. This is a very good rock steel type. Look at those stats. Look at that defense. Easily the most defensive Pokemon we have on our team right now. Yep. I cannot recommend this Pokemon enough. It is just a great tank. Combine that with its high HP and you just got yourself a great battler here. And it's also capable of learning a lot of TMs that you wouldn't expect a Rock Steel type Pokemon to have. So, definitely is a very unpredictable Pokemon at that. But yeah, I cannot recommend this thing enough. I'm so proud of you, Armstrong. You're really going to be helpful in this new form. And with that, every Pokemon on our team is now fully evolved. I'm so proud of them. They've been through so much. So, right quick, I believe I want to head this way. Actually, no, we can also go this way here. It's just an alternate way we can go through here, but it's not necessary. I just want to try to get as many double battles as I can in here, just because it's a fun format to fight in. Watch me levitate a Pokeball telekinetically. Ooh, sometimes I'm out of sync. I see it. I see your future. If you can beat me, I'll tell you your future. So, let's talk strats about the Mossdeep Gym. Psychic types are definitely dangerous. They are neutral to so many different types. And they are just... you can usually expect them to deal a ton of damage. Right here, we got a newcomer here. Girafarig is a Pokemon we could have encountered back in the Safari Zone, but we didn't. This thing is a normal Psychic type, and it's got some interesting strategies behind it. It's not really the best normal type or Psychic type, but it's interesting. So, for the Pokemon you want to bring in here, if you have a Poison or a Fighting type on the team, they are really going to struggle here, because they'll take very high damage from Psychic type moves. But of a Pokemon that I can actually recommend here, I highly, highly recommend having a Dark type in the party. What's great is that there are a lot of Pokemon in this game that, if they're Dark type, they also share their typing with another type, so they can be very easy to fit into your team that way. Example, this being, of course, like Cacturne, Shiftry, Sharpedo. They're all Dark types that have an additional typing to aid them in battle. Alright, here I want to ignore the Wobbuffet and just focus on Kadabra. Actually... yeah, we'll Feint Attack the Kadabra, and then I think with Alexa, I want to use Flash on Wobbuffet. Just to kind of cripple this thing here. Future Sight's an interesting move. A few turns after the move is used, the targeted Pokemon will take substantial damage. It's not affected by type in this generation, but in later games, it does become a Psychic type move. Harlequin gets a level here, which is very good. Other Pokemon I can recommend here. Bug is one of the few types that is super effective against Psychic. It's kind of awkward to recommend them, though. One, because a lot of bug types are also paired up with poison, which makes them weak. And two, there really aren't a whole lot of good bug moves in this generation. All the good bug type moves usually don't come in until Generation 4. So you're mainly going to struggle by using lower power bug moves here. But I could still recommend some bug types. I don't think Beautifly is too good here, but if you got a Ninjask, it can be really effective, especially with Fury Cutter. In terms of other things to recommend here, besides type, so of course Dark is good, Bug is good. What's also good is Ghost. So Ghost-type Pokemon are also weak to Psych, but they are strong against Psychic, at least in this generation. Don't have to worry about that, Red and Blue. And yeah, I can definitely... What am I doing here? Definitely recommend picking up a Ghost-type. Sableye is double good here because it's both a Ghost and a Dark type. So it can deal good damage from either one of those typings. Sableye is Sableye is good. Bayonet is a very solid choice here. So is the Skull evolution, which we haven't seen yet, so I'm not really going to talk too much about it. They're all good. Shedinja is a little awkward to recommend. Not too many of the Psychic-type Pokemon have moves that would really give trouble to Shedinja, but it's something just to watch out for, because it does only have 1 HP, and if it takes a hit, boom, it's gone. And something else I'd like to note is that Dark-type Pokemon are also immune to Psychic damage, so you don't have to worry about them using their stab attacks as long as they're not Dual-type here. But spoilers, we're going to be encountering a lot of Dual-type Psychics going forward. They're going to be the main problem with this area. Ah, you overflow with the power of youth. How can you be so ludicrously strong? So yeah, highly recommend bringing any Dark types you have into this area. Just want to note that that is, of course, a thing you want to go for. I haven't really brought it up yet, but the switches here, when pressed, will cause the statues and also the trainers to move around. And you want to position both the trainers as well as the statues in a way that you can get through here easily. That's the main gimmick of this gym, at least in this game. Because, as I said before, the gym in Emerald is completely different from the Ruby, Sapphire, and Omega and Alpha versions. So, that's definitely something to go through. Honestly, the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire version is the easiest version of this gym to go through. There's really not a whole lot to worry there. Of course, we got these low-level Psychics here. Your stats aren't going to be anything to worry about. Also, that Spoink should be evolved by this point, so should that Waltz. You are just so pathetic. Although, I guess there really aren't that many Psychic types in this game. Like, you can't encounter Drowsy or Mr. Mime in this game. No Espeon, no Slowpoke. So there is that. For this, want to move that. Hit that one. We're gonna fight these two here, just so we get this double battle out of the way. I believe this is actually the last battle in this gym. The risk of life. I will win this battle. Did she just say she could die in this fight? That's awkward. Hanner and Sylvia. Other things I can recommend in this gym is that Steel is one of the few types that is actually resistant to Psychic. So, I can definitely recommend picking up some Steel types to help here. Aggron, of course, you should have at this point. It's a very solid Pokemon to use here. So would Skarmory. Mawile, I can actually recommend here, because it does get some Dark-type moves by level up, which can be very effective. Especially if you're playing the remakes, Mawile is very solid here. Something else to note is that, just for the battles coming up, I can highly recommend having Water and Grass-type Pokemon, especially if they have Dark typing on them. And I could also recommend Ice types here. Just foreshadowing some of the things we'll be facing here, because we're not just going to be dealing with pure Psychics for much longer. Just want to hit... what am I doing here? That, and we got the pathway through. And because we hit the switch earlier, we can get past these statues. Here we are. All the teams held up. Battle plan. I'm going to be leading off with Shanty and Beetlejuice here. I feel like these two are a good match for the opponents that we are going to be facing here. I'm going to save. Another thing I could recommend here is definitely pack healing items, especially revives here. Mainly in Emerald. If you're playing Ruby, Sapphire, or the remakes, you're actually not going to have that much trouble here. But in Emerald, prepare yourself for a fight. Were you surprised? Were you surprised that there are two gym leaders? Which wins? Which wins? We don't need to talk because we can each determine what the other's thinking, all in our minds. This combination of ours. Can you beat it? One of the few gym leaders that actually fights in the double battle format. Raihan says hi. Tate and Liza, I easily consider one of the hardest fights in all of Pokemon. At least in Emerald. Leading off, they have Claydol and Sawtooth. So we're dealing with a ground psychic type and a psychic flying type right off the bat. One very fast, one very defensive. These two complement their weaknesses very well. So on this first turn, I want to go with Surf on Shanty, and for Beetlejuice, let's Shadow Ball the Xatu, because I remember what happened the last time I did not target Xatu first. Alright, Xatu starting off by going with Psychic. That's a very strong move coming off that thing, and it can also buff its special attack even higher to make it even more painful to deal with. There's some good damage there. Alright, Claydol is going for Earthquake. That's one of the most powerful ground-type moves in the game, and powered up by Claydol's Stab, does a lot. Sadly, Beetlejuice went down there before he could actually hit Xatu. So I think at this point, let's go to Harlequin. That's really a shame. I wanted Beetlejuice to be in here for this fight. It's mainly the reason I picked him up for the team, too, which is kind of sad. Let's go for another Surf, try to take out this Claydol, and let's have Harlequin focus on Xatu. I want to take that Xatu out right away, because this thing can be a real pain to us. Look at that! Critical Psychic on Shanty almost took her out! I know she doesn't have a lot of HP, but god damn that damage! Luckily, flying types are able to avoid damage from Claydol's Earthquake. Also, the rest of Tate and Liza's Pokemon are immune to ground, so they don't have to worry about the Earthquake there. That's the main tactic on Claydol. It's able to do a lot of damage with Earthquake without having to worry about damaging the other Pokemon on its trainer's team. Alright, Xatu is down. Very glad we took that thing out. Next, they're sending out Solrock. A rock psychic type, this thing is packing a lot of dangerous moves. Let's go for another Surf, and then Harlequin, let's Giga Drain that Solrock, see if we can recover a bit more HP. I really didn't want to see Claydol get healed there. But yeah, they can heal up a lot of damage from their Pokemon. Ooh, got a critical hit, taking out Solrock before it can do anything here. And I think that's actually going to make... Nope, it doesn't make anything easier for us. Alright, so their final Pokemon is Lunatone. It's also a Rock Psychic type, but the main draw with this thing is that it has much higher special attack than Solrock. So its Stab Psychics hurt. This thing can be a real pain if we don't take it out quickly. Let's have Shanty go for another Surf, and let's have Harlequin... Let's Needle Arm the Claydol. I think that should do it. Gotta take that Claydol out, because that Earthquake hurts so much, and I just want it out of here. Alright, that's gonna take out Shanty. She did her job very well. We couldn't be more proud of her. So these two... we have... That Claydol is gonna go down, so let's switch in Armstrong. We should be good here. Making his gym battle debut as an Aggron. Man, who'd have guessed? Right, Armstrong took a bit of damage from that Psychic. Needle Arm should take out Claydol. Oh boy. See what I mean? This fight gets really hectic, because you've got a lot of opponents to deal with here. For that, we should easily be able to take out this Lunatone. It's the last Pokemon they got. It can't keep its health up much longer. We got this. We really got this! Good work, Harlequin! See what I tell ya, this cactus is going places. What? Our combination was shattered! It can't be helped. You won. So in recognition, take this. Oh, that fight was rough. We actually had quite a few Pokemon faint, but that's to be expected. These two are brutal in Emerald. The Mind Badge enhances the special attack and special defense of Pokemon. It also lets you use the HM move Dive outside of battle. You should also take this too. TM4, this is a move we didn't actually get to see him use, but it's very good. Calm Mind raises special attack and special defense for any Pokemon that uses it. Especially Psychic types. Looks like the bond between your Pokemon is far stronger than the bond that we share as twins. You'll become even stronger. We'll battle you, so we know. So you know what their team is in Ruby Sapphire in the remakes? Just Solrock and Lunatone. They don't use Xatu or Claydol in that fight, and they're so much easier to take out just because you got two Pokemon. And you can easily just take them out by having two water types and having them both use Surf to deal so much damage to Solrock and Lunatone. But putting that Xatu and that Claydol in their team in this game really changes the dynamic of that fight. Just look what they did to my team. And I have quite the history with those two. So I said before that I did a Nuzlocke run of Emerald, and that I documented the run in the form of a comic on my DeviantArt account. During that Nuzlocke run, I went up against those two, expecting to have a relatively easy time, just because of the way my team was formed. And I know this fight's very infamous, especially in the Nuzlocke community, but I felt that with my current team, we'd be able to just blow past them and not have to worry about anything. So during that fight, it was my Swampert and my Mightyena against their Xatu and Claydol. Managed to take out the Claydol and was about to focus on the Xatu. However, the Xatu was able to get up a Calm Mind, boosting its special attack and special defense, so it was able to survive a hit. And on its next turn, it scored a critical Psychic on my Swampert, killing him. Needless to say, that completely changed that run. Honestly, for the better. It definitely shook things up and it was just such an impactful moment. I just cannot stop thinking about it, even after all this time. But yeah, because of that, my experience with the Mossdeep Gym has been certainly interesting to say the least. They've definitely been impactful, and to this day, I still remember them for being one of the most difficult battles in this series. Because the double battle format really changes a lot, makes them very dangerous. And I totally didn't say anything there, but Team Magma has arrived. With Team Magma around, I guess strolls on the beach aren't safe. Team Aqua should take care of Team Magma, but if they did that, Team Aqua will become bold and brazen, won't they? A giant chunk of metal bursts in the skies and flies into space, but Team Magma wants to spoil that dream of mine. I'm not having any of that. I know that things are a little haywire right now, but rocket launch safely, and successful launch number 8. Those Magma thugs are the sites on our space center. We can't allow anything that minor to interfere with our rocket launch. Minor is right. Team Magma's here, but they really aren't all that tough compared to what we've seen before. So this is an Emerald exclusive scenario. You do not fight these guys in Ruby Sapphire or the remakes. I think we'll take care of the guys here before we end things for today's stream. It's definitely a lot we got going on here, and for the future, it's definitely quite a lot of things I want to show off. Before we really get into some other stuff with the plot. But yeah, we got Team Magma here, we'll take them out, and then we'll end things for today. Ran out of fuel? Yes, you did. Don't you think you're on a roll just because you've beaten me? No, I am. We gave you fair warning. There's nothing sneaky about us. Another thing I'd like to note, just bringing up my Emerald and Nuzlocke comic again, I definitely changed things here in this portion of the story. In my comic, Team Aqua did not attack the Space Center, but something else did. I don't want to divulge too much into it, because pretty massive spoilers for that comic, but it was definitely a very interesting change in the story that I really liked doing. Definitely one of the more unique changes I made in that comic, but definitely turned out very good. Reception to it was very good as well. Ah, we should have used sneaky treachery. Not like it would have helped ya. Okay, get already! Next time will come unannounced. You literally sent them a letter telling you that you were coming to take their fuel. How did you not expect this? The rocket fuel the Space Center has in storage, that's what we're after. We need to take every last bit of it. You're not even gonna get a molecule, buddy, not while I'm here. This guy's got a bow toy. Well, at least it's not a numble again. Should be able to take this thing out easily with a flamethrower. Yeah. Well, at least that clay's been hardened now. So gassy right now. Please, can you spare some fuel? Even a chintzy cup will do. No. Get out. Get out of my Space Center. Our leader said no one, but no one gets past me. And you think you can stop me? Sir, you have confidence, but confidence will not save you here. I mean, the Intimidate could help you, but I am so many levels above you that... Man, if the Intimidate, they didn't go off, Jerk would have easily killed that thing in one hit with double kick. That's something. This really shows these guys are so weak. Seriously, they're throwing like my Pokemon in the 20s and 30s after we just fought a boss that uses level 40 Pokemon. How is this meant to be a threat at this point? It's like, at least there was an in-universe reason for why Team Skull's Pokemon were so weak and underdeveloped. At least Team Flare, with all their faults, actually used high-level and very strong Pokemon later in the game. Oh, Jerk's learning a new move here. Slash. That's actually pretty good. I will forget Peck for that. So Slash, as we know it, is a normal type move. Good power with a high chance of scoring critical hits. That could be helpful to us later on. Yeah, you better run, buddy. You are nothing compared to me. I'm not even gonna bother wiping you off my shoes because you are so nothing and minuscule to me. Uh-oh. What's wrong? You're outnumbered 3-1. You still want to take us on? Just so you know, this isn't my first four-way. Don't read too much into that. Yeah, this is just more the same. Nothing really to worry about here. I lost, but... you said but. Too soon to be relieved? I'm up next. Yeah, and how much are you gonna fare compared to the other guy? I mean, you have a Mightyena, I guess, but it's really nothing compared to what I faced before. You lowered the wrong stat, buddy. Damn. I lost too, but... You said but again, but you want to take a break, but I'm not about to let you do that. I mean, I could end the stream here. How would that make you feel? No, I'm not going to. I want to finish up the thing here before we actually get started on thinking about the future, because I got some artwork to do for next stream. That'll be fun to do. I actually got some good stuff in mind for what I'm going to do with that. We should have taken a break. That's what we should have done. You're all pathetic. So going forward, make sure your Pokemon are healed, and make sure your Pokemon are at their best here. Clear out of the way! Don't you dare interfere! We come all the way here to get some fuel, we'll interfere with again! You're gonna mess with us too, we'll take care of you at the same time! Team Magma, what's the point of stealing rocket fuel? Since you're so curious, you deserve an explanation. We're going to jettison the entire load into Mount Chimney. With Groudon gone, we have no need for that slag heap of a mountain, so we'll use the fuel's power to make the volcano erupt. It will be savage. Haley, you're gonna help me? Let's go into battle together. Are you ready? Yep. You can only choose 3 Pokemon to fight in this battle. Considering what we're up against and what I know they have on their team, let's go with Jerk, Alexa, and Shanty. So joining us here, we have Steven assisting us with some pretty good Pokemon, all things considered. And we're battling Maxie and Tabitha once more. Leading up, we got a Mightyena and a Camerupt to deal with. Steven will be supporting you with 3 Steel-type Pokemon, Matang, which is a Steel Psychic type, Skarmory, which is a Steel Flying type, and Aggron, which of course is Steel Rock. These guys, let's focus on the Mightyena, just because it's a bit higher level, so this will actually be somewhat of a threat. Yeah, I was able to survive that. Mightyena going for the scary face, trying to slow us down. Tang's going for Metal Claw. That, yep, took out Mightyena. Very good. I also just want to say, you shouldn't have too much trouble in this fight. With 2 Camerupt here, I know just what I'm going to do for that. Now, let's switch out our Pokemon. No, we can't use any of Steven's Pokemon here. It's not possible. Alright, Matang's going to support us by using Light Screen. That'll lower any damage we take from fire moves these guys might use. There's really not much these Camerupt that you can do that are really going to be any trouble, unless they use like Rock Slide. I don't know if they actually have that on their teams. Let's go for Surf. We should be able to take them both out here. Alright, Camerupt took a decent hit there. I will note that in double battles, multi-hit moves will deal a fraction of the damage to both Pokemon, just as a heads up. So Tabitha's going for his Mightyena now, trying to get another Intimidate off on us. It's really not gonna work, especially with Matang's Clear Body. Although that's not gonna be good. Alright, we might be able to take out Camera up next turn. It did buff its special attack, special defense with amnesia, so yeah, it just barely hung in there. Mightyena takes some good damage there. Should almost be set to win this. Alright, another surf should end this round. Alright, those guys are down. Now off to their final Pokemon. Shanty grew to level 43. Very nice, especially with the effort she put into the last gym battle. Maxie's going for Crobat, and Tabitha will send out Golbat. See, they don't share the same Pokemon. But yeah, that's pretty much all they got going for them. Pretty much just using the same Pokemon they used previously. Really didn't want to see that Confuse Ray here. Yeah, so we got that to worry about, but Steven should definitely be able to support us here. Alright, Golbat goes down. The light screen wore off. Okay. Just got one more Pokemon to deal with. If we can just break through this confusion, we should have this in the bag. There we go. So this should be the end. There we go. No challenge at all. All I just want to expand the last mass. Oh, I thought you wanted a giant woman. I'm with our leader. He's got some good money from that. We failed to make Volcano erupt. We failed to control Groudon after we had awoken it. Is our goal to expand the last misguided? If we Team Magma are wrong, then my Team Aqua's goal to expand the sea also be equally misguided? Alright, we'll give up on the fuel. There appear to be more important matters that I must examine. Whew, that was too tense. Haley, thank you. I have something to give you as thanks for your support. Please come see me at home after this. Oh yes, I don't live in Rustboro City. I live right here on this island. Yeah, let's go see Steven, and then we're gonna call things here. Man, a lot of intense battles here today. Well, one intense battle and just more of the same that we've already seen. Hello, Steven. Haley, as you can see, there's not much here, but this is my home. Thank you for all that you've done. This is my token of appreciation. It's the hidden machine. Dive. No need to be shy. You've earned this HO. While you're using Surf, you should notice dark patches of water. Use Dive if you come to deep water like it. You'll drop to the seafloor. When you want to come back up, use Dive again. Someplace won't be possible for you to surface, though. This opens up a bunch of new stuff for us that we'll be seeing in the next stream. Before we actually get started on showing off some more stuff out on the open ocean, there's some stuff we are now able to do back in an area we had previously been to. But again, that will be next time. So that said, thank you for joining me on this little stream adventure. We certainly made a lot of good progress, managing to make more progress on both Aqua and Magma stories, and won our 7th gym badge. Only one more badge to go. So next time, we'll be taking our new Dive HM and seeing what can be discovered out in the open seas of the Hoenn region. Until next time, have a good night and take care.